I mean, we're talking Messi levels here, and that's not an exaggeration. I don't see how anybody can beat them. That's how good they are.
Liverpool have got 1.5 hands on the Premier League trophy after they beat Manchester City 2-0 at the Etihad, and West Ham United went to the Emirates and for the second season running put a nail in the coffin of Arsenal's title hopes with a win. I'm Will Pugh and I'm back in the Tactics Exposed studio with Sun Sports tactical guru Dean Scoggins. And Dino, you have got 5 points as ever that fans may or may not have noticed from the Etihad on Sunday afternoon.
We've got the West Ham mention in there straight away. We don't have to go
Absolutely,
anymore.
no
So,
doubt.
yeah, number one, we can only start in one place. That's one man went to Mo. Mo Salah's genius performance, and we'll look at the details of what was so good about it. Number two is blockers in the slot for the set piece. Should have been an Arsenal set piece. It was a Liverpool one that actually broke Man City. And then Szoboszlai it in midfield. It's another offside trick. We've talked about offside before with Liverpool. They did something really clever here again. And then it's 4-4-2 again. It's 4-4-2 maybe even. And then number five, VVD, Van Dijk solves the problem that Liverpool were having with Foden and Marmoush really, really quickly in the game.
I already can't wait to talk about those. But before we do, 11 points clear, all over, isn't it?
It's all over, yeah. And also 11 games to go and 7 of those are at Anfield. So it just, even a Steven Gerrard-style slip can't cost them this time around. Don't worry about it. They're almost there. There's no, Arsenal can only get to 89 points if they win every game, which includes winning at Anfield. So it's not going to happen.
It's as much weakness in the competition as it is strength in Liverpool, is it not?
Yeah, I think it's been there's competition everywhere else. So lots of the other teams have been beating each other.
Yeah.
And nobody's managed to figure out a way of beating Liverpool. So everyone else has taken points off each other and not managed to do it to them.
Yep, quite. Look, Mo, how do you like it? How do you like it?
Yeah, very good. Look, we can go on forever about what a brilliant player he is with the ball at his feet, his touch, his ability to pass, his pick a pass, all of that. A given, right? He's just that good. What doesn't get talked about enough is how tactically brilliant he is. So here we are. This is what we're going to talk about.
Well, that is what you're here for,
That's
mate.
exactly what we're here for. And I watched it a few times back yesterday. I couldn't take my eyes off him from minute one. And it's subtle little things, right? But it's so important, and it mattered in both the goals and in the goal they had disallowed. Okay, so the first thing is this backpedal thing that he does, where it sounds daft, right? It sounds easy just to backpedal into space, but it's the timing of it and it's when he does it. So we talk about Man City often, okay, how they go into a 3-2-5 shape in attack when they've got the ball, or a 2-3-5 shape. We've talked about that a lot on Tactics Exposed, okay? What Man City didn't do was sacrifice a player to mark Salah, which, look, they're at home, it's Pep Guardiola, but it is Mo Salah and it is the best team in the league at the moment. So there's an argument to be had there. But what Salah does is when Gvardiol, who's the Man City left-back, pushes up the field, as he does, either as an attacking fullback or what he did yesterday was more invert and go into that midfield place because Doku hugged that wing. Salah waits for that to happen while he's in a space close to Ake, who's the left centre back.
So sort of in more of an inside forward position.
Yeah, sort of that half space that we've talked about before between the fullback and the centre back.
that you've talked about before.
Come on, you're catching on. And then after that, when he sees the ball go into a certain area, he backpedals. He just takes
towards the touchline.
He takes a few steps back, which means then two things. He's got the space in front of him to receive the ball to feet. And also, Gvardiol is blindsided, can't see him, he's behind him, and Ake's stuck. Does Ake go all the way out, leaving the space for the Jones and Szoboszlai run to come
into
from
the left-back position?
Effectively into a left-back. Or does he stay where he is and then give Salah that run? He did it 2 different occasions, Ake. One, he did one option. Salah's roasted him up the outside. The other time, he did the other option, and Curtis Jones goes bombing it through the space. So kind of can't win. So that from Salah is just amazing. And what happens for the goal, we'll come back to the offside trick in a bit later on, which is lovely. But what he does that for the goal, Salah. He backs into that position.
Which goal, sorry?
For the Szoboszlai second goal.
Okay.
So he drops into that position. Szoboszlai runs up the inside of him, and then Salah has got Gvardiol with his back to him, and he's won. If you see the number on the back of someone else's shirt, then you're winning. You've got there. Salah then runs into that space. After that, it's all about timing. Okay. the ball out of the air, amazing touch. He then, little nudge on Gvardiol, and then he backs in, plays it into Szoboszlai to run onto the box. All about timing, absolutely amazing. And then my favourite thing of all from the whole game was this moment that we're going to show on the screen here, is that when this is the goal that's disallowed. So it's very good to see. We'll mark this up in the graphic afterwards.
So it's Szoboszlai, just for clarity, who's offside.
Szoboszlai, this is the offside goal where Jones scored.
Salah out here on the side,
absolutely.
On the throwing line.
You've got Salah out wide. And you've got Gravenberch plays quite a difficult pass.
Yeah.
But what happens just before this is Salah's done exactly that thing where he backs off, backpedals into this space. You can see the space in front of him.
That's it.
And then as Gravenberch is about to play the ball to Salah, Salah goes, not me.
Yeah.
I don't want it. Play it, turn and play it in behind. And so the City defence all come one way, opens up that running channel for Szoboszlai to run through. Unfortunately for Liverpool and for a tactical move off the training ground, it was offside. But you can see those two vertical runners from midfield. You can see how Liverpool set up in attack with the two wide men dragging the defence wide. And then you can see Salah's unbelievable tactical brain to see a situation unfold in front of him and play his role in it. I mean, we're talking Messi levels here, and that's not an exaggeration. We exaggerated a little bit with Cole Palmer earlier in the season about Messi. We're 30 goals in February. We're talking about the age of when Messi and Ronaldo were 32, 33. So we go back to 2017. They both got 50 goals in a season.
Their peaks, yeah.
Is anybody going to bet against Salah getting 50 this year? 11 Premier League games left, potentially 8 games in the Champions League. They go all the way. League Cup final. They are out of the FA Cup, obviously, but he could easily go to those levels. We're talking. I think he's getting quicker. I mean, is that possible?
He does seem to. He looks fitter, doesn't he?
It's amazing, absolutely incredible. The best player in the Premier League by a stretch, and he'll be lifting the title in that hand when he goes at the end of the season. Perhaps
Liverpool are doing the right thing by messing around with the contract. That's the best way to get the best out of it, by all accounts.
Whatever he wants. Does he want the keys to Anfield?
Yeah.
Just give them to him.
Yeah, absolutely. Just quickly then, before we move on, Dino, all of that is impressive, it's intelligent, it's clever. The way you've described it, Nathan Ake, you kind of feel sorry for him there because he's damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. Yeah. Therefore, as much as it's great from Liverpool, is it also a little bit Sir Alex Ferguson in the Champions League final against Barcelona from Pep Guardiola, where you go, actually, Pep, you're not as good as Liverpool this season. You've got to concede a little bit there. And willingly saying to Josko Gvardiol, who, respectfully, Mo Salah's better at going forward than he is, do you just say, look, just for this one game, I know it's a bit more defensive than we used to, but you know what, actually, let's just double team him and you just stay as a left back?
Yeah, I kind of admire Pep for sticking to his principles because he wants to see Doku and Savinho and then Marmoush. And obviously there was the Haaland problem where you effectively end up playing Foden and Marmoush as an attacker to backfill Haaland. So you've gone 2 players in attack for only 1, and then you knock that down the field and you think, well, we're missing there. But I think they should have trusted Nico Gonzalez more in midfield and as you say, left Gvardiol on Salah and only had 2 men in that midfield position, which is Rico Lewis going in there from right back and Nico Gonzalez, which allows De Bruyne and Foden to help Marmoush. But yeah, look,
then you got
stop Salah.
Yeah. Then you got Luis Diaz to worry about on the other side. And Guardiola, to be fair, was waxing lyrical about Nico Gonzalez after the Newcastle game last week at the Etihad, saying he's the mini Rodri, and he was sort of man of the match other than Marmoush.
And City played well, but Liverpool won the tactical game.
Exactly right. Blockers in for slots for set pieces. Blimey, a lot of S's in there.
Yeah. So this is straight off the training ground.
I will say, before you start, as soon as I read this, I thought of the Arsenal episode we did, where we did the Arsenal set pieces, where they were really clever. We're starting 4 players out wide, they all run in and they slot in between the defenders. Is it similar? It's
similar, but they all know their job. So what happens is they're going to take a free corner to the front post, and they've got a man running off the front post to play the ball round the corner. Okay, so fairly basic. For the corner goal, fairly basic. But what is important here is you've got Robertson as a blocker at the front post, who stops, I think it's De Bruyne getting to the ball, and then there's 3 other blockers on the edge. And one thing I can't get my head around with this from a Man City point of view is that you're not marking Salah. again, we'll move on from the Salah thing, but we'll show here that Salah's just all on his own. Yeah. And it's a bit like, I know you're defending zonally. I know that you're going to attack the ball when it comes in.
Not a massive aerial threat, to be fair.
No, he's not. But also, the Slot and the Liverpool team, he very much, said, he didn't say who it was, but he gave credit to his coaching team afterwards for whoever came up with this.
It wasn't Nicolas Hover, was it?
Yeah, maybe got a fax from Hover looking for a job. But yeah, He's identified that City sit just outside the 6-yard box. So therefore, the 6-yard box to the edge of the penalty area is a huge open space. So can we open up that space? So 3 blockers go in to stop the Man City players coming out. Yep. As soon as the cross comes to the front post, which is a pass along the ground, it gets flicked round the corner. And look where he is, Mo Salah in loads of space. And Rico Lewis is actually really unlucky because bizarrely, Van Dijk does the worst job of blocking anyone. And Rico Lewis breaks away from the block and almost gets there. But it's just a really, really well-worked set piece. And then what it did from that moment on, after they've scored the goal, is it created indecision from Man City for Liverpool then. So the rest of their set pieces were very dangerous because Man City were like, are we sticking to what we'd said pre-game or are we moving on? But yeah, very, very straightforward really, but they fell for it hook, line and sinker. A bit lucky with the deflection, but you earn your luck.
Yeah, listen, Dino, I love your headlines for these titles and your puns usually. I'm not sure if Szoboszlai it with another offside trick is one of your better ones.
I don't mind it. I think it's all right. So Szoboszlai it. All right, yeah, maybe.
The offside buster, well, I think was this last week when we spoke about it. Go and watch that episode, by the way, if you like this section we're about to do. But yeah, I'm not having Szoboszlai it, I'm afraid.
Fine. I think we should save a special mention for him though, because I know Salah was man of the match and pretty much is every time he steps on the field. So maybe they should just take that as a given and say who was second best. To
like the betting market where they do the top goal scorer outside.
Without so. So who's going to win the title without Liverpool this year? Szoboszlai was the best player on the pitch other than Salah. Both I love him as a tactical player, much like we spoke about Bernardo Silva, who I really thought City missed yesterday, being the player on the field who carries out the manager's duties for him. Yeah. Szoboszlai was this. And the offside trick, look, I'm not going to talk about the crashing fullbacks like we did in the last episode. As you say, go back and watch that. And but this has happened twice before this season, and I've noticed it twice. And we'll show those. One was the Tottenham game, where they did exactly the same thing, and one was the West Ham game, both away games.
You can just let me have my moment, could you? Well, beating Arsenal 1-0 away, you can just let me have my moment.
But so what's happening here is that the midfielder breaks from a third-man run. So the ball gets played back into Salah's feet, he pops it back to Trent Alexander-Arnold, and then they know the ball's going over the top. So Szoboszlai runs into that space for the trick, okay? He's offside. So Ake's sort of left in there, right? He's offside. The focus is on Szoboszlai.
So just, Dino, just very, very quickly, in case people haven't watched it already, effectively, the trick you're talking about is that Liverpool, when they've got the ball sort of deep, one of their players, be it a defender or a midfielder, runs from deep, well past Salah or anyone in the front line, hoping that at least one defender goes with them, drops a few yards, and Liverpool have just got that advantage, then they can play offside, just in case anyone hasn't watched.
And it is like that, but this is almost more like a decoy runner in order for Salah to get in. So this is like the sort of ghost run for Salah to get the space, and then the player who's offside joins in again. So just hate to go into the detail for people who haven't seen it, or don't understand it, but he's in an offside position, but he's not offside.
As in Szoboszlai.
He's in an offside position, but he's not offside because he's not touching the ball. Okay, he's not impacting the play. Okay, but what he is impacting is a defender's ability to then defend Salah. Okay, so then he goes into that space. Gvardiol turns his back, as we've said before, on Salah, because he's looking at Szoboszlai in an offside position, and then you've got Ake coming across. They all think it's offside, so you slow down. You naturally slow down. But as the ball's in the air, Salah then runs. And then Salah's onside, has been onside all along. He runs in, takes the ball. Szoboszlai peels off cleverly, goes into the space, and then Salah gives him the ball goal.
New phase of play.
Phase of play. Salah's not offside. He touches the ball. City all drop. And then we've talked about time and time again on the show about cutbacks, because the defence drops into the area and then the midfield come onto it, leaving this big space in front. Timing of the run, timing of the pass from Salah. Curtis Jones actually does a really good job as well, because he sort of blocks Kusanov and then that leaves Szoboszlai to go. Just brilliant. They do it time and time again. They did it for a Diaz goal at West Ham. They did it for McAllister's goal at the Tottenham Stadium, where they run into that space and push the line back, and it's working time and time again.
Dino, it's 4-4-2 all over again. I am absolutely loving Tactics Exposed this season because it's like just playing Pro Evo 6 all over again. You have 2 strikers, you have 4 midfielders, including 2 wingers, 2 centre midfielders, 2 centre backs, and 2 full backs. Yeah. Like olden days.
Old school stuff. And Arne Slot, I mean, one of the reasons, a very, very big reason they are run away at the top of the league this year is because he can adapt his formation to play against whatever he's facing. Yep. We saw it in the Chelsea game, we saw it in the Tottenham game, we saw it in the Man United game, where they changed it up ever so slightly, and the players are tactically aware enough to work it out and to play from there. But this was like out of possession, 4-4-2. And so no striker for either team, I hasten to add, obviously because Foden and Marmoush were playing instead of Haaland. Yep. But this is Salah on the right. Instead of Diaz being up front and then the Cody Gakpo on the left, Gakpo wasn't fit enough to play, then in other games we've seen that rotate,
the vertical up. Like piston,
exactly, because then Diaz comes to the left to receive the ball, which means Gakpo can be the target. Obviously, Gakpo not playing, so there was a problem here. Do you play Jota? Do you play Núñez? Not unless you want to put the ball in the back of the net, you don't play Núñez. But what they did was play Curtis Jones and Szoboszlai as those vertical runners, and then out of position, you're the 2 strikers, the 2 front 2. Yep. So then we have Gravenberch and McAllister, and what that also enables is Gravenberch and McAllister to separate, because Man City play that 5-man attack. You can then separate, help your centre-halves out, and Curtis Jones and Szoboszlai as natural midfield players just come into the 2. And you almost end up with 4-4-2, but your attacking players are the wingers. Yeah. Okay? So the 4 defensive players to keep it compact against City in the middle, and then obviously Diaz and Salah are your out balls. Yeah. So it works from 2 perspectives. From a defensive point of view, if you know when to press and when not to, and you can be compact in midfield. And then secondly, obviously, we've got the flyers going the other way. So it was a lovely setup from Slot. We can see from the grabs that it was so well organised and so well done. You can see Man City's shape in there as well, but Man City just couldn't break it down. And Liverpool was so comfortable out of possession. We talk about, it used to be the phrase that possession's only 9/10 of the law, right? It's even less now. Teams are so much more comfortable out of possession and actually more dangerous out of possession, because then you manage other teams are trying to break you down. So they move out of their positions and then bang, off you go.
I'm a David Moyes disciple. You don't need to preach.
You haven't seen 40% possession for a long time.
Exactly. You don't need to preach to me about the effectiveness of not having the ball ever. Listen, Dino, Virgil van Dijk solves the Marmoush Foden issue. Both teams without a recognised striker. To be fair, Marmoush would probably be a little bit offended about that because he's very much a utility forward. Another great episode we've done on tactics if you want to go back and watch the Marmoush one. I think we've done 2 now, actually. But no Haaland. Phil Foden, Omar Marmoush playing in those sort of forward positions for Manchester City. But as you've just touched on there, Liverpool were much more effective in what they did than City were, but perhaps not so much of a slight on City, more of a congratulations, well done to Virgil van Dijk.
Yeah, and McAllister as well. So it was Van Dijk and McAllister, but Van Dijk and Slot worked it out, and you could actually see them communicating to each other early on. First 10 minutes,
Van Dijk and Slot.
And Slot, right. Yeah, they were talking to each other from the technical area out to centre back, and Robertson was shouting things across as well. So. Again, brilliant. That's why they're going to win the title. They know what they're doing. And so what happened is that I really liked how City was set up. And the first 10 minutes, I thought, this is going to be really interesting. Yeah. Because, the Gvardiol issue aside, where it was a bit like, no, you're leaving Salah there, that's a problem. But what they then did was they had Marmoush and Foden, and they were both coming off the attacking line, which then Liverpool aren't used to that. They're used to strikers and a Haaland pinning them. So, you stay deep, we'll defend when they come to us. But Foden then got in these little pockets of space, and then when Foden gets the ball, then Marmoush is running from deep, He's onside then, as we've showed before in the previous episode, and he's so quick, you don't want him to get a run on you. So what they decided to do, Liverpool, and there's a great moment after they scored where Van Dijk and Gravenberch were like, stop celebrating and like, let's talk about this. You know, they scored from the free kick, and it was like, they were showing it here. It was a real conversation on what's going wrong here. And then there'd been a message from the bench. Slot spoke to them. And basically it was as simple as, Virgil, you go out. So Van Dijk doesn't normally do that. Van Dijk marshals that back four line, stays in a line. But it was, no, go out and engage Foden. And don't be frightened to go out and do it. You know, Newcastle did it with Cher against Arsenal a few weeks before, because no one's going to run in behind your space. Konate's going to cover that space for Marmoush to run in behind. And also Trent and him are trying to deal with Doku, who got in behind a lot on that Trent. Yeah.
He's back.
But the thing is go out to Foden and stop allowing him to turn. So it's fine if he has the ball with his back to goal in those pockets of space. But as soon as Foden turns, and then he's got the Savinho run outside him, the Marmoush run inside him, and then the ball to Doku, which he found quite a few times, which left Doku one-on-one with Alexander-Arnold, then you're in a much better position if you're out with him. And they did that to begin with, and then they evolved that into McAllister dropping into that pocket that Foden was picking up, so that Van Dijk's coming at Foden from one way and McAllister's blocking his space. And then because you've got two midfielders coming back in to block in front, problem solved, 2-0 up, the perfect away performance. And in the second half, they even sacrificed Salah going forward for some defending as well. Sat in front, break us down, couldn't do it, lads. Champions.
Are they going to win the B-Tech treble?
That's harsh, isn't it? B-Tech treble, 3 trophies. I know West Ham have won a trophy in recent years, but you're talking to a fan who doesn't know what one looks like. So you win 1, you win 2, you win 3. Look, I don't see how anybody can beat them. I know it's a one-off game for Newcastle in the cup final, and that happens. Other than perhaps Real Madrid on the collision course that they've got in the Champions League, and then maybe Barcelona in a one-off final, but that's how good they are.